Oh, hello, buddy. This is RJ here, and welcome to That Comic Show, Episode 5, Part 2 of 2. You guys should have known there was a Part 2 comics. I already told you in the last part, so hopefully you watched the last part, but I can understand if if some people only decide to watch this part, because this is where all the juicy stuff is at. This is where you're gonna find out my top 10 favorite Marvel Comics characters. I don't need to say comics, but I feel like I should because there is the MCU. But these are my favorite Marvel Comics characters. I might do like my favorite Marvel MCU characters at some point, so my top 10 for that. So I just want to be specific. These are the characters as they're relegated to the comics. So yes, I actually have my list written over here. I've written a list. So I definitely know because there's so many characters to choose from. So I had to write it down. I do have some honorable mentions. I actually have 4 honorable mentions to be exact. And I have some visual aids here just so I have something to show you guys while I am talking and ranting about my top 10 favorite Marvel characters as of now, as of December 2016. This is likely to change. I want to be clear on that because I might make an updated video on a future episode of that comic show. And also, I want to say before we get started, it's been over a month now since I started that comic show. This has been a weekly show. It has been relegated to Wednesdays and Thursdays. I started it as I was going to do every Thursday or every Wednesday, but now after episode 1, since episode 2, I've actually been doing it on Thursday because I just find it easier because I know I got to do it either Wednesday or Thursday, and I know I want to do it Wednesday. But like Wednesday seems to be the day when I come up with all my ideas because when I'm under pressure I come up with some better ideas. So I tend to do the show on Thursday. So at some point, don't be surprised if I just announce that the show is gonna be on Thursdays. But I'm gonna try in the next 2 weeks before Christmas. I want to try to do an episode on Wednesday again. The only reason I didn't do an episode on Wednesday this week actually was just because I had only read like 2 or 3 books by yesterday. So I had only read 2 books by yesterday, so I wanted to read 1 or 2 more issues before I did that first part, because that would have been sad. I've only read the 2 issues of Punisher, so that's the only reason I waited this week, or else I actually was planning to make this episode of that comic show yesterday, which would have been nice, but whatever. But yes, we're gonna get started with my number 10 from my top 10 favorite Marvel Comics characters, and it is one of the men you see on this cover. Screw Green Goblin. My number 10 is Dr. Octopus. Yes, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Otto Octavius. He is my favorite Spider-Man villain and one of my favorite villains. I love Dr. Octopus. He is awesome. Part of the reason why I love Dr. Octopus so much is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Represent. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain why I like Dr. Octopus. I don't know. His superiority complex is great material. He's just I don't know. I don't want to say he's just a really good character, but he is just a really good character. I don't know how to explain it. He thinks he's better than everyone else, especially Peter Parker. Like, I am the superior Spider-Man, bitch. Like, come on. Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I like Dr. Octopus so much, because he can go from the most villainy of villains to the superior Spider-Man, to an actual pretty decent human being, and sacrificing himself in the end to give Peter Parker's body back because he knows he can't save the day. And of course, recently, Dr. Octopus / Otto Octavius has been brought back in his old Dr. Octopus body. Not even like the one he last left off with, like one from quite a while ago that's rejuvenated and not old and dying, and why he switched bodies in the first place. But one sort of like this, actually. His body, like, he looks like that again now, kind of. Except where he has more yellow and shit. He looks, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really like the Amazing Spider-Man issue where I mean, the clone conspiracy when he was brought back, at least how he looked. I don't know. But I do love Dr. Octopus. He's a great character. Just recently brought back. I've been waiting for him to come back since the Superior Spider-Man. Besides when he came back in Spider-Verse, that was great. Also, he had a huge part in Spider-Verse, which was one of the best parts of Spider-Verse, in my opinion. But I don't know what else to say about Dr. Octopus. Also, this list is obviously my opinion, so I don't give a fuck if you agree with it. So I'm sorry if you don't think Dr. Octopus deserves to be on a top 10 list of Marvel characters, but you can go fuck yourself. So I'm sorry. And I'm sorry the same can be said for any of these characters. I'm sorry if you don't agree. And I feel like my number one could cause some controversy, especially for who my number two is. So, yeah, we'll get into that later though. But right now I'm going to talk about my number 9, which actually this one could be a bit controversial first. I mean, a bit controversial too. So I'm going to be careful how I word why I love this character so much. But I have Jessica Jones, issue number 9. This almost doesn't really belong on this list when you think about it, because the real reason I got into Jessica Jones was because of the TV show, which counts as the MCU, I guess. But I mean, she counts. She's a comic character. She's basically, her character, at least now, is like the same as the show. I'm going to count it, and I do have the first issue and issue 2 sitting in my pull list, which actually spoils that I didn't pick it up yet for out of those 14 books that was talking about in the last part. But I did really enjoy this first issue, and I think just from the show and from this first issue, because her show is my favorite Netflix Marvel show, she belongs on this list. Jessica Jones, awesome. Maybe Dr. Octopus should be before Jessica Jones, but Jessica Jones is an awesome character. Something was missing from this issue in my eyes, or something was a little disappointing. I don't know what it was, but I really enjoyed the character Jessica Jones. She is one of my favorite female. I have 4 female superheroes on this list, or 4 female characters on this list. So I really wanted to make sure there was some diversity on this list. Yeah, actually, my number 1 is quite diversified. But yeah. I really wanted to make sure there was diversity on this list, so I wanted to make sure. It's my favorite characters, but I also wanted to make sure there was a little bit of everything, and that's why I only have 2 villains on this list. But I wanted to make sure there was villains. So that's why Dr. Octopus and actually my number 8 are on this list, because I wanted to make sure there was villains. I needed to make sure there was some females. I even got an anti-hero / sort of hero on here, and then I have just a shit ton of heroes too. So yeah. But yes, Jessica Jones, awesome. I don't really know what else to say. It's kind of unfair because I do like her more because of the show than anything, but I feel like she belongs on this list because I mean, I could have thrown one of my honorable mentions on this list and pushed Dr. Octopus up one, but I felt like Jessica Jones belonged on this list because I did really enjoy this first issue also, and I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this series. I mean, how can I not? Brian Michael Bendis is writing this fucking series, and he is my favorite writer. So, and I've not read Brian Michael Bendis has never really done me wrong so far with anything I've read from him. So, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to my number 8, which is the oh so mighty, the oh so great. It is Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. Yes, folks, Doctor Doom is on my top 10 list. He's only number 8, but I feel like he's definitely going to move up in the future because I am loving Doctor Doom right now. I have read Doctor Doom in this mini-series, Doctor Doom and the Masters of Evil. I have had experience with him, and I've had experience with him in FF now. But the latest little piece I've had experience that has allowed me to enjoy the greatness that is Victor Von Doom. Victor Von Doom, it was infamous Iron Man issue number 1. And actually, why did I not pull that out? Excuse me for a second, motherfuckers. I'm grabbing infamous Iron Man issue number 1 here, because that should be out here, and I'm an idiot. Yes, bitches. Here we go. Sorry, you guys just had to look at my blanket, but now I got 2 visual aids. Fucking, oh my god, I love Victor Von Doom now. I have been going crazy over Victor Von Doom for the past little bit now. He has quickly become one of my favorite characters because I couldn't have given a shit about him before because of all the shitty Fantastic Four movies. all three of them are shit. I hate the Fantastic Four movies, so that's why I never cared about Doctor Doom, but I have started to read more. I've started to get more diversity in the comic books. I read more variety. So I've started to see more of Doctor Doom. And he is probably going to end up being way higher on this list in the future. I am just loving him. But I couldn't put him any higher as of right now because I felt it was unfair to the other characters on this list. Which, speaking of, we're going to move on to my number 7, which is the oh so great Mockingbird. Actually, when I was thinking this list up months ago, she was higher on this list, but she has dropped a bit because the past 2 issues of her series have not been up to par as the first arc. So they have not been up to par with the first arc of her series. But I chose the variant cover here just to show the great art, the Woman of Power variants. Mockingbird is awesome. Bobby Morse, really great character. I love her wit and sarcasm. She actually, I see a lot of myself in her in some aspects, which is kind of weird to say because I'm a guy. It's weird to say that, but it shouldn't be weird. I see a lot of myself in her. And it's really cool, and I'm really disappointed that her series is ending, but at the same time, I won't be spending as much money. I'm not going to replace this series with a series. I don't think I'm just going to have one less book, but it does make me sad, because I really was enjoying Mockingbird, and still am, because it's still going. To my knowledge, issue 8 has come out. It's still going for, I would imagine, at least 2 more issues to finish off a second arc, because I think they're going in 5-issue arcs. So, yes, but it's probably going for at least another arc, too. But, yeah, really been enjoying Mockingbird, and she's just a great character. I don't know what to say. Witty, sarcastic, just all around fun. And the way she looks at things and the way she tells her stories is just great. It's just great. I don't know. I love her. But I'm gonna move on to my number 6 and my third out of 4 female characters already, and we have Spider-Woman, aka Jessica Drew. Yeah, I should have said aka for Jessica Jones, but Jessica Drew is on this list. Spider-Woman. I don't know what to say. Mockingbird, when I thought of this list before, was actually above Spider-Woman, but Spider-Woman in the past arc, in the past 3 issues, has been so great that I had to put her higher than I thought originally, that I originally thought I was going to, because I thought Spider-Woman was one of those series I probably could have dropped and it wouldn't have been the end of the world, but as of late, it has been so fantastic. That I'm really loving Spider-Woman right now. It's another character. She's kind of like the MVP out of all the books I have in my pull list. Spider-Woman is kind of like that MVP book that comes out of nowhere and can kind of like, I don't know. It's just been, I don't know. I feel like when I go back in the future and look at some of my series that I've read over time, and I go back and read Spider-Woman, I'm gonna appreciate it so much more with a second read through, with a second go through, and like I'm just gonna enjoy this. I'm already enjoying it, but I feel like in the future this could be just in my top 10 series of all time. I don't know. It could be, or at least top 20. Like. This is just like the MVP series. It has never reached number 1 in an episode of Ranked yet, or / Comic Countdown. It never reached number 1. But I hope at some point that Spider-Woman's been so good. It's been high up. It's been, I think, number 2 or 3 before, but sadly it's never reached number 1. But I can see it reaching that. Maybe even sometime semi-soon. Hopefully in 2017, Spider-Woman can be my number 1 at some point. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I want to love Spider-Woman, so yeah. I'm going to move on to my number 5 now, and my number 5 is none other than the Merc with a Mouth Deadpool. Yes, I just picked up the Deadpool annual variants, because why not? I couldn't really find a good cover to showcase Deadpool, so yeah. Just picked this one. I had that trouble with Dr. Octopus too, but really, what can I say about Deadpool? Deadpool is just great. So I can't really say that. Some of you might not like Deadpool. Maybe you just think he's too overrated like Wolverine. I mean, that's a controversial topic right there. Wolverine and being over. Christ, I'm gonna get freaking. You guys are gonna kill me for saying that. But yeah, Wolverine's overrated. But I said Wolverine at first. Deadpool, great. Maybe the best comedy character, best humor in comics. Maybe actually no, I can't say that. Iron Man and Spider-Man. Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Deadpool is probably the battle for best humor in comics. And Deadpool actually probably isn't gonna get it because I thought Deadpool was gonna be way funnier when I started reading his books, but he's let me down sometimes. Some issues don't really have like any humor in them, like, but whatever. And sometimes his humor is hit or miss with me, so yeah. But yeah, Deadpool, great, wit humor, dark. His books are dark, and I like some dark material. Like, actually, I feel like I like a dark story. I feel like I like a great dark story better than just one that's all lighthearted and humorous all the time, or not all the time, but like lighthearted and humorous and almost takes away from the story in a way. But I know I do like myself a good dark story, which Deadpool can give us a lot of the time. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. And I'm just going to move on with number 4. I didn't really plan out what I was going to say about each character, but my number 4 is the last female character on my list, and my favorite female Marvel character, maybe even favorite female superhero / character in comic books. And that is Black Widow / Natasha Romanoff, because there's another Black Widow, and then there's also like a Golden Age Black Widow, so yeah. There's another main Black Widow, and then there's a Golden Age Black Widow, so, and there's other Black Widows like Black Widow 2099 and Ultimate Black Widow, so yeah. But Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow that everybody knows, basically, the one played by the great Scarlett Johansson, but yes, I also picked a woman to power for this one to show off, because isn't it just great? And it has purple, and purple's my favorite color. But yeah, Natasha Romanoff, 4, one of my favorite numbers. My second favorite number after 9, which actually 9 was Jessica Jones. 9 and 4 are my favorite numbers. So yeah, what can I say about Natasha Romanoff? She's just a badass. She is so great. I can't say silent but deadly, but she in this series she's been silent but deadly. I do have the first 2 issues of her Marvel Now series, but besides that, this is my only experience with her. The first 6 issues, issue 8 sitting in my pull list. I may or may not have bought issue 7 as one of those 14 books I got that I was talking about in the last part of this episode of that comic book show. I didn't just spoil that I got issue 7, but the first 6 issues have been fantastic of Black Widow so far, and it's been one of my favorite series that I'm currently reading in my pull list, which is basically, my pull list has basically only been a thing besides Afterlife of Archie and Walking Dead since All New or Different Marvel started. So this has been one of my series out of All New or Different Marvel, which is now going to be Marvel Now 2.0. So really enjoying Black Widow, and keep up the good work. One of my favorite characters, of course. She's my number 4. So great work, Mark Wade. Great, love her. Great. Anyway, moving on to my number 3. I can't say that number properly. I'm sorry. I can't pronounce the THs. We're approaching the 19-minute mark, which is basically approaching the 20-minute mark. Holy shit. But, the next character I gotta talk about quickly, I gotta speed it up a little bit, is, Iron Man / Tony Stark. And I've got probably my favorite issue, of any Iron Man series in front of me. So yeah, Invincible Iron Man issue 14, fucking read this shit, man. I don't know if I told you if this has ever been a recommendation of the week, but this is an honorary. This is like, I forgot to mention this recommendation of the week. You gotta read this shit. Read issues like 11 to 14 of Invincible Iron Man, or just read the whole goddamn series of Invincible Iron Man from All New or Different Marvel. There were some issues, like the War Machine's arc wasn't all that great, but like besides that, the first arc, and then like the last 4 or 5 issues were great. So yeah, I just want to say that quickly. Tony Stark. What can I say about Tony Stark? Isn't he just the greatest? The futurist, problem-solving, hilarious, childlike in. He's still a child. He's never really grown up fully. Really big daddy issues. Maybe some mom issues too. Mommy issues. Maybe a bit. But he is the Golden Avenger. He's like nowadays everybody's favorite Avenger. I wasn't into Iron Man whatsoever. Never been interested in reading Iron Man or even watching the Iron Man movies till like last year. And I'm so regretting not getting into Iron Man earlier, because Tony Stark Iron Man is just a great character. And what Bendis has been doing with the Iron Man, with Tony Stark and just the Iron Man characters in general, has been just fucking fantastic, which I might do a rant on, maybe even as soon as next week. But I don't know what I can say, okay? Just Iron Man, Tony Stark, my number 3. He's just great. I don't know. And if it wasn't for the difference between the last two characters, he probably would have been my number 2. But I'll explain that after. Speaking of my number 2 is Peter Parker, aka the Amazing Spider-Man. You'll find out why I'm saying it like that after. Yes, Peter Parker. I need a new bag for this. My God. But yeah, Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. Are you really surprised? You guys actually probably are surprised that he's not my number 1, but we'll get into that in a bit. Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. If it wasn't for like the past year or so, he would have been my number 1. If it wasn't for the past little over a year, maybe year and a half at most, he probably would have been my number 1, to be honest. Peter Parker. But there's somebody that I enjoy just I don't know if I can say a tad, but just a bit more. But Peter Parker, probably and possibly the greatest superhero of all time, being the Amazing Spider-Man. In a lot of people's eyes, he is the greatest. But I think there's somebody greater, or somebody that will be greater. And I'm going to talk about that. But what can I say? Possibly the best humor in comics, even though it's kind of lame at times, the stuff he says. He has had I have read some not so great issues of Spider-Man, so that also contributes to him not being number 1, because my number 1 character, I've never read a bad issue of any of his series so far, in which I've only read books from two different volumes of his series. I don't know what to say. Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker. The reason I got into comics as much one of the reasons I'm into comics as much as I am today, because I always wanted to read Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has always been my favorite character. But as of right now, my number 1 is my favorite character, and I will talk about that after I talk about the honorable mentions. I got 4 honorable mentions to show you guys. And starting with Riri Williams / Ironheart. It's kind of weird. I know it's kind of weird. We've barely seen any of Riri Williams, but I can already tell I'm gonna love Riri Williams. I'm gonna love the character. So I just added her as an honorary mention. I already do love her, so I just added her. Then I also have Luke Cage, but I don't have a visual aid. I have had a little experience of him in comics, but yet again, like Jessica Jones, he's mostly on this list because of the show, because I did love the Luke Cage show, and I do plan on getting into and reading some Luke Cage comics. So yeah. Then I also have Groot as an honorary mention because this Groot miniseries during the time of Secret Wars. Because I have the first 5 out of 6 issues and it was so great, and the way that Groot was expressed through this series was so great. So he had to be an honorary mention. And then the last honorary mention is the series I'm still reading now. I don't have the first 16 issues of, and that is Punisher. The Punisher is quickly becoming one of my favorites, and he actually almost made it onto this list. If I had not put Jessica Jones on this list out of just being a bit too soon to have her on the list, the Punisher would have been the character out of the honorable mentions. When I said I could have pushed the character from the honorable mentions on here earlier, he would have been the character I put on, even though I still don't have that much experience with him. I've only read 7 issues with him, really, of his own comic, but like, it's been great. Rick Remender's been doing well with the Punisher, so yeah, I just thought he deserved a spot, even in an honorable mention on this list. But anyway, I'm going to move on now to my number 1, and you guys might know who it is now, because I talk about this character all the time and how much I love this character, but it is my number one favorite Marvel Comics character is none other than Miles Morales / the Ultimate Spider-Man / Spider-Man. He is the Spider-Man right now in the Marvel Universe, and to me, he is my favorite character. I personally enjoy Miles Morales more than Peter Parker, especially right now. Miles Morales has not had I've not read a bad issue of any Miles Morales Spider-Man series. Yet, I'm over here reading friggin' Amazing Grace and stuff from Spider-Man and some iffy issues. And like the first 5 besides issue 3 of this run of Amazing Spider-Man sucked. So like, I don't know. So because of some bad issues with Peter Parker, that helped me feel better about putting Miles as my number 1. But also, Miles is just such a great character, and through Miles' series, we have seen talks about racism, diversity, just a whole bunch of deep topics that maybe you wouldn't really see in every comic book, which I really appreciate. And if you know me personally, you know I don't care what your gender is, what your sexuality is, what your race is. I do not care about any of that stuff. I'm not racist, sexist. I mean, as I'm saying that, it kind of almost sounds like I'm just trying to make sure you guys don't think I am, and I'm like, maybe I actually am. But I'm legit not. I couldn't care less about race, sex, sexuality, gender. I don't care. I just take you as the person you are, and that's fine with me. It's not that I don't care. It's just I'm not an asshole. Like, I'm not that much of an ass. Like, I'm actually like educated and shit, and like I might sound a bit of a dick to some people right now, but like I guess I don't care, because it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter what race, gender, sexuality you are. It should not matter any of that shit. I'm just gonna say that right now. It should not matter. And I'm not just making Miles my friggin' number 1 to be like, oh yeah, I love black people. I'm not trying to be racist, but like, oh yeah, I'm just using this to say, oh yeah, I love black people. I gotta make sure people know. Don't think I'm racist. Miles is my number 1. No, Miles is my number 1 because he is a fucking fantastic character, and Brian Michael Bendis knows how to make fantastic characters. Brian Michael Bendis is my favorite writer, which is another contributing factor to why Miles is my number 1. Because Brian Michael Bendis knows what the fuck he is doing when he is writing Spider-Man. So, yes, I just wanted to say all that. Shout out to Brian Michael Bendis. I might actually throw that in, like, the description of the title or something. But, yeah, I'm gonna, Brian Michael Bendis is, like, my comic book idol, man. I love him. He's awesome. But no, I've said before, Miles Morales is my bae. He's my spirit animal, and I'm not joking. He is my favorite. If God, I always wanted to be Peter Parker because he's always the Spider-Man you was seeing, and he's always the Spider-Man I saw. But over the past couple years, I've grown to love Miles Morales, and if I was to be a character, I would want to be Miles Morales now, probably, or Peter Parker. But no, Miles Morales is great. I love the deep topics they get into in the series. I love everything about the series, basically. I love how he interacts with characters. I love how he may be the rookie of the Spider-Mans, the sort of amateur. He's one of the new Spider characters, but he can get shit done. He is great. And Peter Parker has given him endorsements himself and has made Miles Morales, he has given Miles Morales, he is allowing him to use Spider-Man. He has said that Miles is the better Spider-Man himself. So, what can you say? I'm gonna end my I'm gonna end my top 10 list here. I'm gonna end my talking / ranting here. If you enjoyed my list, if you enjoyed me talking about it, this has been a 30-minute video over, actually. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, even share if you would like to. Please do that if you would like to, anyway, guys, this has been part 2 / the last parts tonight. Oh my god, I need to get these uploaded now. Of that comic show, episode 5. And anyway, guys, I will see y'all later. I'll see you if I don't make any videos in the next week. You guys will see me in a week for that comic show episode 6 because I'm sticking to this weekly shit. It'll either be done on Wednesday or Thursday. And anyway, guys, I will see you all later and peace out.